Hello and welcome to
Gank That Drank.
a supernatural drinking game podcast. This is season 2, episode 10, Fulsom Prison Blues and What Should Never Be.
And in this podcast, what we do is we watch along with 2 episodes of the ever effervescent, always enthralling, and supremely exciting television show, Supernatural. And we come up with a drinking game in our attempt to curate the perfect season 2 drinking game
For you,
for
gentle
the
listener.
world, for everyone.
So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go watch it. You're not coming with us. We'll be back.
You have to do that part on your own.
Drankier.
Batteries not included in this show.
You could pause this and go watch the 2 episodes yourself, play along with us, let us know. Or you could just listen to us stumble through our recaps and discussions of the episodes. It's really dealer's choice.
You could look up the script and just read it.
You could act it out among your friends.
There's so many options. You are in control of a team free will.
Yeah, exactly.
That's you.
All right, so tonight we're watching episode 41 overall, episode 19 for this season. We're almost done, by the way.
Yeah.
Fulsom Prison Blues aired April 26, 2007, 3.3 million viewers. And then episode 42 overall, 20 for the season, What Is and What Should Never Be. This is an Eric Kripke episode, May 3rd, 2007, 3.1 million viewers. Okay, so we have moved past, we added 18 drinking game rules. And now in the back half of the season, we are slowly eliminating some. So last time we eliminated we eliminated Slam, which just happened way too often.
And it's hard to keep track of.
It's really hard to keep track of. And we eliminated the Wi-Fi rule because in 2007, it is possible to get Wi-Fi. It's still highly unlikely. And then this time we are eliminating cuts. Where if anybody,
which I feel like is going to be a much more relevant
later
season rule.
And we're eliminating headache because each one of them did not happen, but for 5 times for cuts and once for headache.
Yeah, which I thought, memory served that season 2 was lots of Sammy headaches, but maybe it's season 3?
I don't know. We just haven't been seeing them.
I don't know, yeah.
All right, so we are still playing Rock Salt.
Take a drink if they use rock salt. Take 2 if it doesn't work.
Concussion.
Take a drink every time one of the boys gets a dramatic head injury.
Yes. Toxic masculinity.
Take a drink if there is actual perceived or debatable toxic masculinity.
Someone dies.
Take a drink if someone dies. Take 2 drinks if you don't know their name.
Jump scare.
Take a drink every time there's a jump scare.
Positive masculinity.
Take a drink if there's positive masculinity, like Fifi's in the car.
Copy a plot.
If it is similar to X-Files, Buffy, whatever else, if it's definitely something that's been done before, take a drink.
Broken furniture.
I love this rule, and I feel like we just miss it. Yes, if there's broken furniture, take a drink. And every time I'm watching on my own, I'm like, oh, there's all that broken furniture. Why don't we ever see it?
Eyes of black.
We ever get some demon eyes, take a drink.
Fake names.
Boys use some stellar rock and roll or whatever names, take a drink. And then, is it the double?
It's double if you know or if you don't know what they're referencing. That's right,
yeah.
We haven't quite figured that out.
If you know the reference.
Then I suppose it's what you get to choose. If you want to drink more.
True, yeah. Again.
Double if you know it. If you don't want to drink as much, yeah. Stay in the circle.
If the boys say to someone, stay in the circle, take a drink. Take 2 drinks if they do not stay in the circle.
EMF.
If they bust out that good old EMF, take a drink.
And last but not least, pop culture references.
If there's a pop culture reference, take a drink and then take 2 drinks if you do or don't know it. Whatever you want to decide to do.
Yeah.
If you knew it, then I guess you'd know it. If you don't know it, anyway, you're not going to drink if you don't know it, right?
Right.
Because you're not going to realize there's a pop culture reference.
Okay.
What are we drinking?
I am drinking a Dogfish Head Sea Quench Ale, a session sour. It has blissfully brewed with lime juice, lime peel, black limes, and sea salt.
I will be drinking Voodoo Ranger from New Belgium Brewing in Fort Collins, Colorado. This is an IPA. So their normal IPA is Ranger, or one of their many IPAs, very popular style. Obviously, they have Ranger. This is India Pale Ale brewed with spice. So this is a little bit extra added onto their normal Ranger.
Spicy.
Yeah, and it's got a fun can with a little skull, like Forest Ranger kind of deal on it. It's a really good design. So hopefully it tastes good. I think I've had Voodoo Ranger before, but I don't remember. I've had many beers.
Okay, we are going to go watch Fulsom Prison Blues and What Is and What Should Never Be. But for you, we will be back instantaneously with our tipsy review and our drinking game rules played out. Oh, and by the way, in case you are just joining us in episode 10 of season 2.
Spoilers.
Of course, there's going to be spoilers. We're not going to leave anything out. But also, I'm Krissy Lenz.
Oh, and I'm Nate McWhorter.
And we're both improvisers from National Comedy Theater.
Good job, us.
Yeah, we get better as we go. We will be back. What do we always say at this part?
We'll see you on the other side.
We'll see you on the other side. Oh, boy. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
What a chore that was.
Yeah. I hate saying that about the show, but...
I mean, they can't all be home runs.
No, they cannot. And these were both 2 jam shots inside, slow grounders to third base. And we are slow runners.
You know I don't know what that means.
Out. Sorry. Okay. Do you want, I only took notes on the second episode because I was eating my salad.
I'll do the first one.
episode.
So Fulsom Prison Blues is an entirely skippable episode.
But the better of the 2, I would.
I don't know. It depends on what you're qualifying it as. But this is definitely, there's no reason to watch this episode.
Mm-mm.
It really almost seems like it was written for a different show and just adapted to be a supernatural episode.
It's strange too, because when this episode started, I had like fond memories. I was like, oh yeah, this is a good.
They're in prison.
That's a good one where they put themselves in prison, and I knew that I kind of remembered little bits and pieces and mechanics of this episode, and then just as it was going on, I was like, no,
it's boring.
Not good.
It's really boring. So basically, we start in this prison. They open up a door that's been welded shut, and it's like just universally lesson learned.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a door that's welded shut,
it's welded shut for a reason.
Don't open it.
Yeah.
Just don't. And then someone gets killed by a ghost, obviously. A guard.
Yep.
And then we see 3 months later, the boys breaking into a museum where they get arrested. And Special Agent Hendrickson catches up to them. Oh, but first they do their sexy headshots that are on all the supernatural merch.
Yeah.
So there's Special Agent guy catches up to them, and he's like, oh, I finally meet you in person. I know all about you guys. You're in trouble now.
Remember that hostage situation in Milwaukee?
And the murders in Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Yep. So they go to prison, and this was their plan all along, to get sent to prison so that they can investigate this ghost at the behest of someone who knew Dad. Anyway, Dean really flourishes in prison.
Oh, yeah.
He loves
really
it.
At home.
And he's just a sassy molassie. And so, like, people keep getting killed. They figure out that it is a ghost lady who was a nurse in the prison who was killing inmates willy-nilly.
Well, their first theory was that it was some crazy murderer guy.
Right. Who was locked in that ward that they opened.
Who was, like, murdered by guards. And they to go talk to, like, the old-timer in this county prison.
Jeff Kober, who is a character actor who you've just seen on everything. He plays a bad guy in literally everything, including Buffy and Charmed. And I'm pretty sure he's on the X-Files and, like, every CSI.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah, he's in all the CSIs, all the Law and Orders, all the... what would I call him? Discount Gary Busey.
Yeah. You see him, you'd be like, right, that guy.
Right. Which is, I guess, if you're discount... he's more well put together than Gary Busey, but it's like...
Yeah.
Oh, we need a guy who looks like Gary Busey, but doesn't come with all the baggage that Gary
Busey
comes with.
He's like store brand Gary Busey.
Yes. He's Target Gary Busey.
Yeah. Well, but also their lawyer is store brand Rosamund Pike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, like, there's nothing interesting about this episode. There's nothing fun. They find the bones. They evade capture.
We get I like the one moment we have with Dean and Tiny, the big dude that he like picks a fight with right before Tiny gets killed by the ghost in the hospital, in the infirmary, where they kind of get this cool like moment of like, I do suffer with low self-esteem, to be honest, and like they open up. We got an example of positive masculinity that we marked down. I think that might be the best scene in the whole episode. That you get this kind of cool little scene between the two of them.
There's some funny moments with Dean and the other inmates and stuff. But
and then Deacon, who ends up being our
prison guard,
right,
who helps them escape. Yeah,
and who was like kind of beating up on Dean the whole episode. Yep. It's just very telegraphed and obvious. And
boring. Like, don't even remove this from the canon. All right.
There's no mythos. It's straight monster of the week. I guess other than
I love a monster of the week.
Yeah, and we have a little bit of carryover with the Hendrickson, but other than that, nothing.
All right.
Just boring.
What is and what should never be?
Yes. This is a Djin episode. We get our Djin episode of this season. And we start
Djin episodes, I was saying, are kind of like the Pontiac Bandit. They come up like once a season.
But again, I still feel like, okay, maybe for first few seasons, but then they just stop. Once we get into heaven and hell and angels and all that, I feel like they stop Djinns. Like, they keep referencing Djinns.
The Djinns come back a lot in the season with the alphas and where Grandpa's back and they're capturing the alphas and stuff.
Yes. Sorry.
No problem.
So this is a Djinn episode, and we see Dean's hunting a Djinn like straight out the gate. Even in the cold open, Dean is hunting a Djinn. He's on the phone with Sammy about it, and he's got the blood-covered knife, and he's going to hunt it. And then the Djinn gets him. So now we know that the entire episode is set up within Dean's head.
Yeah, we know that from the
So there's
beginning.
no twist, no. They don't try to set us up with, like, Dean's living this perfect life all of a sudden. What's going on?
Which is what they do in almost all of the other Djinn episodes.
Yes. Or a trickster episode. Or, like, they're always just,
They have to, like, Dean still goes through a process of slowly having to realize that none of this is real, but he knows going in that it's not real. From the beginning, he knows
it's not real. So he's just trying to find out, figure out what it is.
Which I feel like takes a lot of the punch out of it.
Mm-hmm. Completely. It's just the whole time we're just like, okay, when are we gonna get to him being rescued? We know that Sammy knows he's on, like, and that's the other thing is, like, he's on the phone with Sam at the beginning of the episode, so we know that Sam knows what he's hunting. It's not like Sam's off doing something else and it's like, man, it's been a while since Dean has called me.
Well, but also moments have passed. Like, he's actually only been in the Djinn's dungeon for like maybe a couple hours. But to him, it feels like days.
Yeah. So Dean kind of like wakes up and he's talking with
He's got
Sam
a beautiful
on the phone.
wife.
He's got a beautiful wife, Carmen, and we see Sam he talks to Sam on the phone. Sam closes this book that is like a law textbook, and you're like, oh, okay.
He goes to Mom's house.
He goes to see Mary, and we get this visit with Mary. And Mary just looked weird in this episode. Did she look strange to you, or am I just like coming off season 13, like used to like Apocalypse, badass Mary?
No, it's just probably been a while since we've seen her, seen the actress, which is something I love about Supernatural. Which is like, if you're an actor who appears on more than one episode of Supernatural, you just never put away that card in your Rolodex, like. You're going to get another call.
Yes, unless you're John.
Well, don't be so sure.
So then, he goes to see Mary, but at the same time, he's still trying to, like, figure out about this Djinn. So he goes to see a professor about this Djinn.
But so also we get all these terrible conversation where it's like, Dad's on a softball team? Yeah, Dad's dead.
Yeah.
You know that, Dean.
Yeah.
Have you been drinking? And he's just like, oh, boy.
Oh, everyone keeps mentioning that to me, and sorry, I just keep forgetting. Like, he's real bad at like covering up why he doesn't know anything that's going on.
Which you think he would be better at it.
Yeah, and he gets real excited about weird things like mowing the lawn. He's like, oh, I gotta mow the lawn. The lawnmower's not even on.
Just having a normal life. Yeah.
Just having a normal life. And he's seen this girl in a white dress, and he's like trying to figure it out. So, but again, like, I guess maybe they thought that was the intrigue of this episode, was like the mystery of this girl he keeps seeing.
Nope, it was super obvious.
Yeah.
And it was super obvious too, like he's gonna. But why would the Djin fantasy include the detail of the people on the flight that they didn't save and the people that the little girl he didn't save in the hotel pool? Like, why would the Djin construct a fantasy that included the details of all the lives that Dean knows he saved?
Yeah.
That he didn't save. Like, bad move, Djin.
And later when we get the Djin basically talking directly to Dean through Mary and Carmen and Sam and all these.
And
like,
Jess.
And Jess is like, why did you have to keep digging? Like, the Djin is just like real upset with him, low key, about him, like,
you could have been so happy.
Right, you could have been happy here, dead, even though you know you're dying.
I even made Dad dead for you.
Yeah.
We get that moment in the grave where he's like, why do I have to weigh me having an ordinary life with saving all these lives? Why is it my job? 2 man tears.
Which is something that we get several times in several seasons, is this like idea of, oh, they could have had a normal life, or here's an opportunity for Dean to have after Sammy dies. Here's an opportunity for Dean to have his normal life and go back to having a wife and a kid, and
or for Sam to have a life,
or for
Dean
Sam to have
gone,
and like they always kind of play around with this idea. This just seemed like a real cheap way to be like, remember, their mom died and their lives could have been way different. The one dynamic I do think is interesting to look at is that, like, okay, if Mary had lived, if none of that had ever happened, which is, again, interesting once you think about apocalypse world, but is the relationship between Sam and Dean is not as good. I think that is probably the most intriguing thing about this episode, is that, like,
Sam hates
without
Dean.
the death of their mother, they don't become as close as they are, which I
and,
guess
like,
is a true thing for siblings who lose a parent early in life.
And I think probably that's ultimately what Dean couldn't not have in his life, was Sam.
Is that companionship with Sam.
But it's also so boring and dumb. And but I do like whenever Sam is playing like in a proper, like, buttoned up version of himself, like Jared Padalecki is a good actor, but he's just like such a doof. Like I always just want to slap real world Sam.
What are you doing, Dean?
What are you doing, Dean?
Yeah.
Oh, looking for a beer in Mom's silverware drawer? Like, he's just such a goober. And it's just, there's nothing. I do think that this falls into the category of a must-watch episode because you see Mom and Jess, but it's so boring.
Yeah, I don't think you need to watch it. I don't think...
I think there's some really good acting
from anything consequential.
That's true, but the acting is good.
It is.
And the boys sure are handsome.
Yes, they are. And they're
a little,
fantasy world. But I don't think you need to watch this episode.
Go ahead and just skip all of this.
Yeah.
There's not even anything that funny to say.
No. I don't have any jokes. I don't have any... Other than just compare this Djin's reality with what we learn 11 seasons from now or whatever. Like, maybe... there's intrigue there, but
not really.
Yeah, really, yeah.
Especially not if you're seeing it for the first time.
Yes, if you're watching it through for the first time, definitely just
boring.
I mean, I'll watch it because you're watching it for the first time, but don't rewatch it.
Okay. Here's how our rules played out. Rock salt happened once. Concussion happened once. Toxic masculinity. I think we counted it once as the FBI agent Hendrickson really talking down to the lawyer. Someone dies,
like
happened 3 times.
All the prison stuff is
all
like prison is naturally like toxically it's because it's a bunch of men in prison, in this prison at least. So we kind of skipped past prison toxic masculinity.
We did. We got 1 jump scare. We got one instance of positive masculinity when Tiny really opened it up and was in touch with his the source of his pain.
Super fun.
And what really went over the top this time were the pop culture references. There were 8, and I even think we missed a couple.
Yes, especially in the Fulsom Prison Blues, tons and tons and tons of the title of the episode is a pop culture reference, obviously. So just tons of prison references. They had I think there was a Paul Newman reference. I think there was
Charles Bronson.
Charles Bronson,
Like
just
lots
tons.
of Great
Yeah.
Escape.
Yeah.
All right. So
But the second episode, that had hardly any rules hit because it was all a freaking fantasy.
yeah,
So we had nothing.
pop culture references.
Yeah, that's it. We had the Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of
references,
Oz.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, this was not the most exciting episode that we've ever done.
Apologies.
Be sure to join us next time when we are watching the final 2 episodes of the season, All Hell Breaks Loose, Part 1 and Part 2, when we finally get back to the Yellow-Eyed Demon storyline
Yay.
and get
And
some
the Hellgate.
get some serious shit happening.
Yeah.
And then after that will be The Road So Far, where we review our drinking game rules and go over everything with you. Be sure to like, rate, review,
Share,
thumbs
subscribe.
up, tell a friend, hug your mom,
Mm-hmm.
high five a puppy,
And skip these episodes.
and skip these episodes. I don't have my thing pulled up. What else do we say at the end? Yes, find us at nctphoenix.com.
Nice Arizona.
Come see us in a show.
Yes. I don't know. I was going to try to make some sort of reference, but I'm too tired and don't want to think about these 2 episodes anymore.
I know, but I'm excited for the next 2.
Yes. Very excited for the next 2. It's going to be good. Good
Yeah.
end to the season.
And then we're on to season 3.
Yes.
And we're going to have to start thinking about what twist we want to put on the drinking game rules that time, whether we want to go back to drawing some, or how we want to play
Right.
it.
And during these episodes came up with a couple more ideas for some new drinking game rules too.
Yes.
So definitely
Like the
some
cold breath.
cold breath. Remember when we started the season, we were like, oh, we were going to
Should we
skip it, but it was, there's these episodes. I feel like, that like middle stretch was like, hooray. And then basically we've just been waiting to get to these
Just to
last 2.
grind it out.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, well, remember your Gank That Drank lessons learned. If a door is welded shut, fucking leave it that way.
Leave it shut.
And when you're out there in the world, saving people and hunting things, the family business, keep the most excellent podcast motto in mind. Be excellent to each other and
Party on, dudes.